So good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Lichfield and Tamworth Chamber in Focus. Get more focus on the hospitality and venues at the moment. It's great to have Simon Warburton with us from Lichfield Cathedral. Simon, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris. Hope you're well.
Yes, very well, very well. We'll look forward to hearing some of your thoughts in a moment. So, just as a quick introduction, Simon is Executive Director at Lichfield Cathedral. We all know locally how much of a landmark that place is. That's kept me running many a mile at the Lichfield Half Marathon over the years. But certainly, as a place and a focal point for Lichfield is as clear as ever in the current situation. But today was really about looking back, but also looking forward as well, and looking at tourism in Lichfield and the cathedral's place within that. How the venue has responded to the response to COVID, and also the vaccination programme and what they're doing at the heart of the community there. So Simon, it's a pleasure to see you. It really is, and we look forward to meeting in person sooner rather than later, hopefully, as the time comes, as you say. So really just wanted to touch firstly from a Lichfield point of view is around that vaccination programme. You know, we over half the nation have now had that, and some have been lucky enough to have it in the eaves of the cathedral, I believe. Just give us a quick insight into that.
Indeed. Much of the credit must go to the Dean of Lichfield. It was really his foresight that saw back in the summer of last year, actually, that cathedrals might form an interesting space for mass vaccinations. And of course, being a place of healing is at a cathedral's core purpose. And so we began investigating that with two of the practices in Lichfield. And we had a number of visits from them to talk through. So this is when we were really still properly locked down. So the early part of last summer. And we started talking operationally about how we might use the space and how we might bring people in, trying to work within the COVID secure guidance that was coming out. And we were trying to guess how, entrances, exits, one-way systems, hand sanitization points, all those kind of things. And we realized that actually this could be a goer, and that actually it might be a really decent space to get a mass of people in.
Yeah.
And of course, we were beginning to understand what the type of vaccine and the requirements around that. So there are certain vaccines, as we know, that you have to wait 15 minutes after you've had your jab. So not only is it space to be able to sit people and go through some of the medical questionnaire and then indeed offer them the jab, but then you need to find the space to sit them down for 15 minutes while there is observation. And so once we had established that as a principle, and it's worth saying that the cathedral was offering itself on a not-for-profit basis, so we didn't want to make money from this.
No.
We felt that it was part of our giving back to the community, and we recognized that by doing so, the quickest way back to normality, whatever that might be in the future, was to get people vaccinated. Yeah. So we started on the 15th of January, so a quick kind of bump to earth following Christmas. And I think to date, we're at about 10,000 who have come through the cathedral. And as of this week, so this is quite a timely discussion. So as of Friday, Saturday of this week, we will have our first cohort coming back in for their second jab. So that will be the over 80s coming back to us.
Wow, and that's a really sort of a great figure and a really sort of proof there of the work and the effort that needs to go into that, and it's great to see. Yes, and as those second jabs come along, that's a really important part of the business side, as we discussed. And I think that's the other area I was keen to discuss is it's not only that, being at the heart of the community and that healing process, which is such a really sort of positive message. From a business point of view, the cathedral isn't only a place of worship. We've had events there, and it's been a really sort of a key member of the business community and the tourism community. Just give us a bit of an idea around that response to COVID and your thoughts for the future and the planned return of your sort of events, both inside and out the cathedral.
Well, if I might just start with the worship side of things, because I think the government's stance on worship has shifted over the last 12 months. So much like many other businesses, at that sort of midpoint in March last year, we were told to close like everyone else. And I'm ever so proud of the team here, because we've streamed 3 services a day from the 23rd of March, and we are still streaming 3 services a day. So we have, in our core business, we've responded to taking our whole offer virtually. Now, we recognise that does not give what perhaps our congregation needs, which is about being around other people. And I think as a country, as a world, we've realised that actually what we need is to be around other people.
Yeah.
Not just about we need that from everything that we do. But actually, in this latest lockdown, we've been allowed to continue to have in-person worship in the cathedral, even in these most toughest restrictions. And I think that's both government's reflection that places of worship play a key role in the country's mental health, but also that they trust us in being able to do that and manage it safely. And if anything about the vaccine clinic, if I might just go back to that, managing that number of people through the cathedral has filled us full of confidence to be able to reopen again and do it in a COVID secure and a safe way.
Yeah.
As you say, being a place of worship might be our core purpose, but we are many other things. We're an event venue, we have a shop, we have a cafe, we're a visitor attraction in our own right. In total, we get about 250,000 people who come through the cathedral over the course of any normal year. We actually made the decision quite early on to cut cost quite significantly. And so we did reorganize over last summer. And again, I think an interesting piece of foresight by the executive team here was that there would be an ebb and flow to this pandemic, and that we concluded that our spaces, so our cafe is actually based in the downstairs of the office I'm in at the moment, and it didn't lend itself at all to social distancing. And so unfortunately, that remains closed for now, and our shop remains closed for now. But we have an exciting events program, not just for where we hope to welcome users of the building back, such as the Lichfield Festival. Detailed discussions with them about getting them back and getting their program up and running this year. But we have an artistic program that we hope will be interesting for families, so for it to change our demographic perhaps, all based around a theme of Alive in Hope, which is fitting for now, I think, and is actually going to be looking at the link between medicine and the wonders of medicine and what it's been able to do for us, which again, no better time to talk about that.
With the vaccine as well,
So we've got stuff all the way through the year. We hope to start that in June with a laboratory that we're building in the South Transept, where there'll be lots of kids' activities for people to come in. In August, we'll have the Great Exhibition back, which is a light show in the evenings, a bit like the Christmas light show, but it's based all inside the cathedral, and that's been themed over the year, where people have come and seen the moon landing. So
fond memories of seeing the moon, walking on the moon in the centre of the cathedral has been a very fond memories of that. Two summers ago,
looking up at so they laid on the moon, looking at the solar system flying above their heads. We've got Poppyfield returning in November, which is part of our remembrance services, and you'll be able to walk down the poppies in the centre of the nave. And perhaps again, no better time to be thinking of remembrance when we've lost so much as a country. We will have the light show back at Christmas this year. So we are optimistic. Some might say I'm overly optimistic, but I'd rather have things planned and be able to cancel them than not have anything ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And as you say, that response of being out and in the centre of Lichfield around Cathedral Close with those events happening and broader, broader sort of tourism and going into Lichfield, which we've all enjoyed. You're lucky enough to work in there every day. A lot of people will come into the town for those festivals, like you said, the festival that I know, the food festival last year, no, year before, wasn't it? Was a huge success in the glorious bank holiday sunshine in August. You realise how much people look forward to those events, and being able to open safely, as you say, is the first vital point. And hopefully, alongside the work you're doing, with the vaccination program, alongside the NHS, that means that they will return. And I suppose that tourism discussion is you and I had met many times at some of the groups that were discussing pre-COVID a lot of the tourism plans. Just give us again an idea of that broader view. I know you've got a place on the Staffordshire Place Board, which is a Staffordshire Council sort of campaign to talk about Staffordshire as a county. So again, give us a bit of an idea of that and how that feeds into the reopening as well.
Well, if I start at the Staffordshire Place Board, so I was honoured to be asked to go and sit on their board, and that is much more than tourism. So that's about promoting Staffordshire as a place to live, work and play. So it's as much about inward investment as it is about attracting people to visit the area. And that is a very recent initiative. So the place brand work completed in September of last year. They appointed a place brand manager who started in February. And the board, I think, met for the first time at at the end of February, just after she had started. So it's very much in its infancy.
Yeah.
It's got a number of sort of key strands, not least looking for ambassadors of the area. So it's about consistent, targeted promotion and using its existing residents and businesses to begin to talk about why are they based in Staffordshire? Why did they choose to move out of some of the urban areas and say, these are the places of which we want to live? We've held a number of ambassador events. They've been attended by over 150 attendees. They're very well attended, and we're hoping that message begins to roll out. The next steps are to create some forward-facing areas like websites, social media accounts, LinkedIn accounts, that kind of thing, and continue to hold these ambassador events. And I suppose it was best pitched to me as kind of the big idea is not yet known, but it will come through partnership working. Yeah. And the example was the Coventry City of Culture. And I think if you had asked Coventry and those partners sort of 10 years ago that's where they'd be now, they would never have guessed it. But it's about understanding their place, unified promotion of place, pride in that place allows you to then move on to the opportunities that might present themselves in the future.
And I think, as you say, that group working and that working together, has never been more important now as it will be for many years. And as you say, these opportunities come from that shared working and that shared knowledge, and I think that's really important.
There are still some tricky areas for us. So I also chair the local Lichfield Group Travel Partnership. Yeah. And very much mindful that there needs to be a county view of that as well. Yeah. But the long-term impact of COVID on multiple households mixing and getting onto coaches, for example, is still quite a big question mark.
Yes.
I mean, I think there is significant credit should go to the district council here in Lichfield, who I think are very much wanting to get ahead of the game. They're wanting to be able to promote the area. We know that everywhere is going to be thinking the same thing, and the art is going to be picking the right moment. Yeah. And so I think whether it's group travel, whether it's general attendance to the city, whether it's certainly recognizing that domestic tourism is going to be the target. I'm a believer of pent-up demand. I think there's going to be a huge amount of people desperate to get out who are fed up of being housebound. But all of this is hypothetical, and I guess we need to start reopening more and more to understand that will come true, and it's worth promoting.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, isn't it? These next few weeks, as you say, ahead of your plans. It depends on what is said centrally, and then that gives us all the opportunity to really talk about what is important to us as an area and as a county and as a city and across the group. So no, really positive, Simon. I like positivity, and that's definitely coming there with a measure of caution around the changes that are going to come to us in the next few weeks and months. But Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. It really has. Hopefully we can do this with the cathedral in the background in the glorious sunshine come the summer, and we really look forward to speaking to you again soon. And thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.